I say butterfly kiss because butterfly, keep it simple, sis. Yeah, I like that. This is your girl Lock Lotus, and I am excited to share with you a new method that I have come up with that is called Butterfly Kiss Starter Lock Method. In this method, you will be able to navigate your way through your starter locks on up until maturity. So many people are getting locks now and have no idea how to maintain their locks once the install is complete. I'm going to help you with that. I thought it was a good idea to come up with a method that could be taught and duplicated through anyone's lock journey, whether you have traditional locks, micro locks, sister locks, inner locks, whatever locks, braid locks, whatever locks you have, you can use this butterfly kiss starter lock method in order to help you navigate at least the first year of your starter lock journey. We all know that all locks come in all shapes, forms, and sizes when they are started. One thing is for sure is they all need the same thing in order to thrive in the lock journey, and that is a proper way to shampoo, moisturize, and style from day one. We all know that clean hair locks faster than dirty hair. So when it comes to locks, I know we've been told, and it's been like a myth for years, that just don't shampoo your hair. That is really not true. The more buildup that is on the lock, the more it keeps the lock from actually matting. And if it does mat in the midst of the buildup, then that's when you get the lint and all the things that you can't get out of your lock. So you want to lock your locks clean. So when they're in the locking stages, you want them to be as clean as possible. Also, when it comes to locking your hair and shampooing, you want to braid and band your hair. Now let's get something clear, because I want to really make a confession and be very transparent. I did not shampoo my hair the way I should have when I first started my lock journey over 12 years ago. Now, I said it. So I do not recommend that for anybody at this point, because I understand more on why that was important than I did then. I'm definitely going to move forward with letting people know that it is important to keep your locks clean during the lock stages. Also, you want to braid and band your locks. So when I first started doing it, I did not braid and band my locks the way I was supposed to. I think I did it the first time I completed the install, and then I didn't really do it anymore. Luckily for me, I had an install that was interlocked all the way down, so I really didn't run into any problems when it came to bunching or anything like that. The issues that you're seeing kind of running rampant through the starter lock community now, I really didn't see that. And I think that just kind of, covered me, during that process of not doing what I was instructed to do. But with the way that things are developing now in the new starter lock community, I think it's very important to braid and band your locks, because locks are being started in different ways now with the 2-strand twist, and things like that. So I will tell anybody to go ahead and braid and band your locks when you shampoo them, especially in the starter stages of it. I would just take big plaits. Nothing special about it, nothing fancy. Just take several plaits throughout the head, braid it down, put some type of something to secure it. I would suggest like the little fuzzy hair twisties that we used to use back in the day. Those kind are perfect for it. Rubber bands are good, but sometimes they can snag, and if your hair is kind of like a loose texture, and when you go to take the rubber band off, it can kind of pull the hair off. So I would say try to go with something soft, fuzzy, meaning that it's not going to pull when you go to take the rubber band off. Secure them and shampoo your hair like normal. When you shampoo your hair, I don't suggest that you use a conditioner after your clarifying shampoo. Some people will want to condition, and you can do that, but let's just make sure we remember and understand what conditioner does, which is actually softens the hair. And when the hair is soft, when somebody's hair is tangled, you usually run and throw conditioner on it and comb it to detangle. So if you're putting conditioner on hair that you want to eventually lock, you're actually going against the process, but that's just me. Once you let your hair kind of air dry, you can do one of two things. I've done it both ways, and each way works. You can let your hair dry maybe 80% dry, and then, put your moisture routine on it, which I suggest, a saltwater blend first, and then put an oil and water blend second. Keep your hair twisted or braided or tied up in some shape, form of fashion while it is wet. Do not let your hair dry loose. I promise you, if you just get that part right there, you'll negate a whole lot of issues that you could possibly have in the future by letting your hair dry loose and allowing it to expand. What you're going to do is allow your ends to start to unravel, possibly depending on your texture. If you have a curly texture, those ends are going to start to unravel. I don't care how secure that interlock was done. If it was interlocked, if it was twisted, then you just really out there. But if your hair was interlocked, it will still try to unravel out of that interlock. Please let it dry in a condensed or confined stage, and then take it apart. You can take it apart for your braid out, for your twist out, whatever it is that you're trying to do. But I promise you, it'll save you when it comes to your bunching, the hair expanding, and all the things that you're giving it an opportunity to do by being loose. That's going to cause a problem. It prevents all of that. That is so important. And I did not understand that thoroughly when I first got my locks, but I definitely understand that now. So I'm encouraging you on that. So let's talk about salt water and how it can aid you in your lock journey. Salt water will help your hair texturize. So I know if you've ever seen a salt water spray, like maybe in the store, you know, like certain people will use salt water to create more texture. Say for instance, their hair is naturally straight, you know, and they want to create a more textured, rough feeling to the hair. They'll mix it with salt water. That is perfect in creating a great environment for the hair to go ahead and matte and lock a little faster. So I encourage a salt water mist on your newly formed locks in order to help speed up the process of the matting stage to get you into lock maturity. So I would say a lock, spray your hair with a salt mist, but then also follow it up with an oil and water mist. And they have those, I think As I Am have them. You can actually make your own, you know, just a little oil, a little water, mix it together, shake it up. They have blends of rose water and, you know, those different blends that they have for kind of hydrating the locks. You can use that. You can use it. I just do not suggest that you use it in the mornings when your hair is going to be free and you missed it before you run out the door. And no, we don't use it like that. Not for the butterfly kiss starter lock method. Okay. So what I want you to do is use those products, the salt water and the moisture mist. I want you to use those at night. Use them, give your hair a chance to form in the confined state so it can give you a nice braid out or twist out. Allow your hair to do that with those products on. Give it a good amount of time to dry before you take it apart. So usually that's at night, but hey, if you get up in the morning, you decide to do your moisture routine, you going out later that night and you want to take your hair down for some texture, perfect, because it was allowed to dry throughout the day. You see what I'm saying? And then you take it down once the texture has set in and it's not allowed to roam about the cabin, you know. So that is what I definitely encourage with that. Also with your starter locks, don't be afraid to set it. You know, put some perm rods in it, or put, you know, some flexi rods in it or something like that. But something to create a texture that it can dry into versus allowing it to dry into its own texture at this moment. So anything like that is perfect. I mean, Bantu knot outs, all of those, braid out, twist out, Bantu knot out sets, you know, perm rod sets, flexi rod sets, pipe cleaner sets, all of those are perfect when it comes to styling your newly formed locks. Now, one thing that I will say that I feel like has really tainted the starter lock community and have actually set us up, a lot of us up to have issues in our lock journey, is the loose curls. The loose curls at the end of your new locks, it's pushed. So it's definitely a part of the starter lock beauty standard when it comes to, you know, getting new locks and having a certain look about them. A lot of people like for the ends to stay curly, remain curly. They don't want them to go back. None of that. When the hair is out and curly, it makes you not want to do the things that is required for it to lock and mature in a manner that gives you the least amount of problems. So you really have to choose in the beginning of your lock journey. I know a lot of people do. I know there'll probably be somebody that come on here and say, hey, I did all of that and I did just fine. Great. But what I don't want people to do is look at somebody else's lock journey and wonder why their locks are behaving one way and somebody else's locks are behaving a totally different way. Our lock journeys are our own. Really, our lock journeys are our own, and truthfully, it's a very intimate and private experience. But what we're doing now is conforming to the trends of the locks and wanting, everyone to be a part of the journey in a sense of, I want my locks to look like everybody else's look because this is how the collective of starter locks are supposed to look. And I honestly believe that this is another way of putting people in a position to follow the trend versus being their own natural individual. You know what I'm saying? That whole being authentic in your lock journey, I promise you, is the way to go. Because everything else that I'm seeing develop in this thing, locks used to be a very spiritual and personal experience. Now they're just being tossed around, like just trends of all kinds of foolishness, and then it has a look to it now, and it has a structure about it now, and it's just really going and getting out of what they originally, what I feel like, it's just really, in my personal opinion, it's just really getting kind of out of hand, honestly. And there's so many people out here that just do not like their lock journey. And I promise you, when you go inside, when it comes to your lock journey and move the way you're being told to move versus looking at the narrative of how your locks are supposed to move and how they're supposed to look and, all these different things, I promise you, you'll fall in love with your journey more than what you have fallen in love with it up until this point. Head wraps. Head wraps are a good way of kind of putting a cocoon around your locks while they are trying to develop into a mature stage. So don't feel any kind of way about tying your locks up sometimes. Honestly, just tie them up sometimes. Give yourself a rest. Give them a rest from the elements of nature, but give them an opportunity to flourish. And sometimes it doesn't take for them to be, on stage. It's a very intimate experience for you both. At this point in your lock journey, if you're watching this video and you have starter locks, sometimes it's a journey that is only for you and your locks. Maybe it's not everybody else's business. I don't know who I'm talking to. Maybe it's not anybody else's business that you've started your locks. Maybe you don't want the energies and the eyes of other people on your lock journey. Huh? How about that? Maybe when people have told you that your starter locks are in an ugly phase, how about you cover them up and love on your locks in private and watch them come from under that cocoon beautiful without the energy of others staring at them and making you feel away. How about that? So I feel like, it's really a private experience to start, your locks. I encourage you not to fall into a lot of the trends that are coming along when it comes to how your locks are supposed to look. Everybody's hair texture is different. Everybody's density is different. So it's going to produce different shapes, sizes of locks, and it's going to produce a different look and a different journey. But just like we do with everything else, we look outside of us to see what's the protocol for how I'm supposed to look, talk, walk, dress. You know what I'm saying? Don't put your locks in that same category. We struggling enough as it is with our own self doing it. Make it a personal experience. Don't be afraid to go along with the butterfly kiss starter lock method where you are, shampooing your hair the way you need to. You're braiding and banding it the way you need to. You're putting the moisture and the salt on it to allow it to do what it needs to do faster. You're putting it in a cocoon so you can love on your locks in private. How about that? Butterfly kiss starter lock method. Stay tuned. I got more information coming about this.